Let's meet our panel. And as always, I like to let my panel members introduce themselves. So Van Little is someone I've had the honor of working with back in the internet days. And Van, maybe you can introduce yourself to our audience.
I'm currently the global CTO at Interdynamix. It's a global system integrator located up here out of Edmonton.
Next, Yvette Steele, if you could introduce yourself to our audience.
Absolutely. This is, as Wes said, I'm Yvette Steele. I am the leader of CompTIA's Advancing Tech Talent and Diversity Community.
And Beth Neargarder, if you could introduce yourself to our audience.
Yes, thank you, Wes. I am Beth Neargarder. I am the channel manager at RocketCyber. We are a managed SOC out of Dallas, Texas.
It looks like we've almost gotten sort of parity between men and women in the workforce, but still work to do. 47% of women in the workforce in America today. That arguably is the good news portion of this. As we start to move into other areas, such as management, which you all occupy today in one form or another, only 26% of women share those management roles. And it gets worse in technology, which is the other space that we're all in. Only 19% of women's share in the computer science degrees. Van, I know that you have one. That I think I'm going to maybe get you to start with this one because you do a lot of work directly for CompTIA around diversity and women in technology. So maybe you can help us out with this one. Why do we still have this gap?
There's a lot of reasons about diversity in tech. And I think the experience for women of color varies from women in the majority culture. From personal experience, I'm a baby boomer, in case you can't tell, but growing up, the opportunities were very different when I was in school. I want to say that the challenge starts early on with the lack of curriculum that's available to inner cities and inner city schools, which perpetuates the ongoing gap. As we get into as we get into the workforce, then women combat sexism, racism, bias in the workplace. It continues on where recruiters aren't educated or aren't trained to be able to overcome their own personal biases when it comes to making sure that there are women represented within the workforce, as well as women of color. Leaders within the industry also need to change their way of thinking to upset the status quo. So, for example, making sure that that there's, when they have a position open, that there's a diverse slate before they even start interviewing, making sure that that women are represented, underrepresented minorities are represented. Diversity is one of the primary tenets and what helps organizations be successful. So I would have to say that one of the biggest reasons for the gap is the lack of opportunity for people of color, just knowing that there's an opportunity for a tech career, and then once we migrate into the workforce, that the barriers are there, and it's up to leadership to really make a difference in the hiring processes and changing things around so that we have more opportunities for more people that are seeking jobs.
When I was starting out in my career, and even in university when selecting a major, there was just this sense of, whoa, I do not belong here. And you have to be the type of person that had a background and upbringing to say, you know what, I don't care that I don't belong here. I still want to be here. And it's just this extra hurdle that minority groups and women in general have to overcome, because they look around and they see middle-aged white males, and they're different, and they're very obviously different, and they stand out different. Their approach to the work is different. They come from a different culture or a different angle, and their opinions are not always respected or heard. It makes it a lot harder to break in, and there's this constant sense of, I have to overcome this barrier. It's a barrier that I have to overcome, which doesn't exist for the incumbents that have traditionally been in this space.
Well, I mean, honestly, if you look at the different careers that people could take and how people are marketing it and seeing the promotion of that career and how it looks, that visibility to a young girl who's looking to make a career choice early on in life is not something that they see as something that they could possibly do, because it's not highlighted as something great or something that they're seen as. It's definitely male dominated. So why would they want to take that step and have that big competition and be looked down upon because you're the only female in that industry? So that's a huge thing. I see that my daughter's in high school, and the classes that they're offering don't promote that kind of stuff very often. And even nowadays, they still don't. So it's just getting to that younger generation first to make that step.
What really help it advance and or close the gap is having more male allies who are able to, come alongside of women issues and be more supportive. Spreading that word to your colleagues is one way that each of us can start to make a difference every day within the space that we're in.